More than half of Japan's abandoned houses exist for the same reason. Someone inherited them and never registered that they did. It sounds like an oversight. As of 2024, it's also a legal deadline. And if that inherited house is now sitting somewhere with your name attached to it, whether you've ever set foot inside or not, the clock is already running. Japan revised its civil code so that inheriting land or a building now comes with a legal obligation, not just a family decision. Once you know you've inherited a property, you have 3 years to formally register that inheritance. Miss the deadline without a valid reason, and the fine is up to 100,000 yen, a few $100s, not enormous, but real, and it's a fine most people never see coming because nobody told them the rule existed in the first place. This is the detail that catches people off guard. The 3-year window isn't just for new inheritances going forward. Property inherited before the law took effect, even decades ago, and never formally registered, falls under a retroactive deadline of March 2027. If a house has been sitting in a grandparent's name for 20 years while the family quietly agreed who it belonged to, none of that counts. Only the official registry does, and right now, it doesn't say what the family assumes it says. This isn't as complicated as it sounds. The registry itself, called the touki, is public, and a judicial scrivener, Japan's equivalent of a property registration specialist, can search it for a specific address or a family name for a modest fee. If the property does turn out to be registered or already sold, that's the whole task done. If it isn't, the same scrivener can usually walk you through the registration paperwork directly, and for a family member living overseas, this can typically be handled by mail or by proxy without ever needing to fly to Japan in person. This law isn't really about paperwork. It's Japan's attempt to fix the root cause of its abandoned house problem. When ownership is unclear, unregistered, or split across cousins who inherited a fraction each without ever formalizing it, nobody can legally sell the house, demolish it, or even be held accountable for its upkeep. It just sits there, decaying, for another decade, and then another. Mandatory registration exists to force a decision, one way or another, before a house drifts into that kind of ownership limbo permanently. Nothing happens immediately, and that's exactly the trap. There's no notice in the mail, no automatic flag. The house just keeps sitting there, quietly accumulating fixed asset tax bills nobody's paying, slowly qualifying as one more poorly managed, vacant property under Japan's newer local government rules, the kind that can lose its residential tax discount and see its tax bill jump sharply. By the time anyone in the family notices, it's usually years of unpaid tax and one missed registration deadline later, not a single afternoon of paperwork. If you have any Japanese property in your family's history, even one you've genuinely never visited, this is worth 10 minutes of checking, not years of assuming someone else already handled it. The house may be worth very little. The registration deadline doesn't care. Confirm the registry status before March 2027, and an inherited Akiya stays what it should be, an opportunity to decide what happens next, not a problem you didn't know you had. If this made Japan's empty house market a little clearer, subscribe to Akiya Handbook, the channel that explains how Japan's cheap houses actually work, honestly, and without selling you anything. There is also a free guide waiting in the description, the Akiya Buyer's Starter Guide, how to buy a cheap house in Japan without getting burned. 11 chapters on the truth about so-called free houses, the hidden costs, and who should not buy. No hype, and completely free. The link is below. Thanks for watching.